It is close as we get set for the latest race in the Bridgestone GR86 Championship. The numbers that have just come through are courtesy of Amanda Tolamash, the category manager for the 2025-26 season. Zach Blinko is on top with 474 points. Chris White, who's been doing some great things in the last two rounds of the championship, on 470. Just 4 points is in it at the top of the ladder. And it's a good fight for third, I should point out too. Josh Bethune's on 442. AJ Giddy, young AJ Giddy, on 421 points. We say thanks to Paul Manuel, who's with us for the SP Tools TA2 Championship. Ronan Murphy is with us as we look at the grid for you. AJ Giddy will start this one on pole, and he's had a pretty good weekend as far as speed is concerned in that car, hasn't he?
Oh, he's not only been fast in the Bridgestone GR86 Championship, but also in the next time Mazda Racing Series. So he's been doing double duties and been doing a brilliant job at that. And if you look a bit further down the grid there, Justin Allen off P7, Cooper Barnes off 8th, Lee Zelltwanger there off 9th, and Josh Bethune, one of our championship protagonists there in P10.
Probably a bit of head scratching going on for Harry Townsend. He's working with former champion in Tom Bewley, and together as a combo, they were very good last time out. Tom's on the radio kind of guiding and coaching, but just hasn't gelled in the damp conditions for some reason this weekend for Harry. I'm not quite sure why, but they roll up to get set for a start here. Race 3 of 3. This is the feature, and we saw in qualifying earlier in the weekend that AJ did the job, because the fastest lap time in that qualifying session is what determined pole position for this grid. But he was so good, the consistency, which helps set the grid for race 1. Your second fastest lap time, man, he was good in that respect too, wasn't he?
He certainly was, and he's been, along with Chris White, probably the two form cars this weekend. So those guys, they're lining up on the front row of the grid, and it's dry now, so it's going to be interesting to see who can take the bragging rights this time around in the final race of the weekend for the Bridgestone GR86s in the dry. But I'm sure Zach Blinko, Mac Templeton, Simon Hunter and Hugo Allen and the likes will have something to say about it.
High praise for Chris White's performance recently in the official Repco Next Gen NZ Championship podcast from none other than Greg Murphy. The red lights start to illuminate. We're ready for a start in Bridgestone GR86, and away we go. White launches away beautifully, gets great traction, and immediately takes a car length lead over AJ Giddy as they run down to turn 1 for the first time.
White absolutely smashed that start, left AJ Giddy hanging. Going into turn 1 there, Blinko slotted into 3rd. Mac Templeton, he's status quo, he stayed there in 4th. Simon Hunter's moved into 5th. And our championship, or reigning champion, Hugo Allen there in P6.
Oh, already some dramas, a little bit of rally cross. Manages, despite the wheel work, to keep it pointing in the right direction. That's Cooper Barnes. How did he save that with all the wet grass off the side of the track after a weekend of rain? He somehow keeps it pointing the right way. Bit of wiper work going on. I would imagine that's because of a bit of mud or water that's kicked up there on the windshield. Arthur Braun, difficult weekend in the 222. Let's hope he has a nice one in the final here.
That was wet and wild out there on the... Oh, Mac Templeton, he's off the road. Going down towards the last corner there as he managed to keep it off the wall. He has. Oh, that's such a shame for Mac. He was running there in 4th place. But we'll have to wait and see if we can grab a replay of that and see if he had a helping hand or whether it was all done on his own.
We just were hoping for a nice finish for him here. He went off in the prior race after a 3-wide battle into turn 1. Here's our winner of this morning's race in Justin Allen. Nice to see him with a bit of spring back in his step as well.
He's in a melee at the moment with Lee Zelltwanger and Josh Bethune, as he managed to clear them both. Simon Hunter's just ahead of him, and so too, as we see another car off in the same spot. I think that's Arthur Braun in the 222 car. So these GR86s, they're doing as much rallycross as they are circuit racing right now.
We're hearing that Motorsport New Zealand race controller and the officials from Toyota GAZOO Racing New Zealand are having a little look potentially at the start for Simon Hunter, the 42. Was there movement before those lights went out? So that's a little backstory. Chris White has amassed a lead nearly 1 second already over AJ Giddy. He is enjoying this when he seems to be able to, particularly when he qualifies at the front end of things, he can, on the colder rubber, he can make that Bridgestone work so well.
Oh, he just got an absolute jet of a start, Chris White, and now he's just driven away. He's got a massive gap over Giddy and Blinko. Giddy and Blinko are actually probably a little bit quicker at the moment. Zach Blinko was the fastest car on the road on that last lap by a 10th, so he's got a plenty of speed in the number 90 car.
Just seeing the view from the drone there, Joe working the 6th drone for us, and what you saw was a move for position. The 32 of Josh Bethune getting by Justin Allen. That's for 6th place, and he's got speed too. He's already on the back of Simon Hunter.
So we see there AJ Giddy and Zach Blinko, they've caught Chris White, so that advantage that Chris White had on the first couple of laps has eroded. It's now only even a car length, if not a couple, but we go back there. Josh Bethune sliding the car there. Lee Zaltwain has now got up the inside of Justin Allen, our race winner from this morning. He's under all kinds of pressure at the moment. Cameron Hill's in there behind. Look
at the wipers at work now. It's not immediately obvious to us here in the commentary box, but there may be some misty rain starting to happen for competitors. It certainly looks that way from the 6th drone cam, doesn't it?
The racing line still looks dry at the moment, so we might be okay for a few more laps, but certainly the wipers going on all the cars is a telltale sign that it could be raining again. You see there Arthur Braun, he's managed to clear Justin Allen as well, so he's had a good recovery from running off the road almost on the first couple of laps. So we see there he's now in behind Cam Hill. Let's shoot down to Rhea in the lane.
I wouldn't say it's raining, boys, but the mist has certainly started to pick up, and the visibility, it might look bright on TV, but it is quite dark out here.
It's Rihanna Crean in the pit lane, straight from the Gold Coast to the wild weather that we've had here this weekend in Invercargill. And Rhea will be with us next weekend, of course, for the 70th running of the Napa New Zealand Grand Prix. Huge weekend of action, including this class. Bridgestone GR86, AJ Giddy, Zach Blinko. This is now a three-way fight for the race lead. White's got to go mid-track and play defensive. Look at the car under brakes as he fights to go to that maximum point of the braking and not let either Giddy or Blinko by.
And this is Neil Motorsport with, in conjunction with Wood Motorsport against Mackenzie Motorsport, and those Mackenzie cars in second and third seem to have the measure at the moment of Chris White's number 88 Pack and Save car. They are all over the back of him, but White, he's showing his experience and he's a mature young lad. He put the car in the right place down there at the last corner. He moved it over to the inside, and then as he saw that AJ was disincentivized, he moved it back and took his racing line.
The newer generation car that we've seen become a part of this series in recent years, 2.4-litre power plant. Really cool little, very popular little Colt car, and these youngsters are using it to their absolute maximum. Look at Giddy dancing on the very edge. It's difficult. There's no easy way to get by there. Some real smarts from Chris White and Zach Blinko. We talked about the championship standings before the start of this race. Giddy has a little look again, shows the nose, but can't get it done there.
Again, Chris White put his car in the right place. He disincentivized Giddy, made him get out of his rhythm a little bit. Now, he's under huge pressure from Blinko. So Chris White at the moment, his car looks really good off turn 1, but through turn 2, 3 and 4, he seems to struggle a bit, and the Mackenzie cars are back all over him.
Hugo Allen, a good gap further back. You can see here is again, AJ Giddy has a little look. There's no way through there as they go into one. The Southern Loop, they call it here at Teretonga Park. Keep the momentum, keep the flow, keep leaning on the outside of the car, keep the speed going. There's nothing in it between these three as they exit there and head for turn 3.
The beauty of all this is there's 14 laps to go, so Chris White, he's going to have to hold on a while longer if he wants this race win, but he's shown plenty of times before his capabilities and that he can win races and potentially look to try and fight for the championship. As we look coming through turn 5 there, Chris White, he's still got AJ Giddy and Zach Blinko all over the back of him, but what's he going to do down towards the hairpin down here? Is he going to move it over again? Oh, he's moved it over a little bit. Giddy's again had to back out of it, not quite up the inside.
You know what's going on here? These three are down in the 1:09 in terms of lap time. Hugo Allen is in the 1:08. You can just see him creeping into the left of your shot there. He's closing on these three. The reigning champion, Hugo Allen's coming.
Hugo Allen, Josh Bethune and Simon Hunter, they're all in the mid-108s at the moment. Hugo Allen's just done a 108.4, Josh Bethune a 108.2, so these guys, they're half a second, if not 6/10 quicker than Blinko, Giddy and Chris White. As we see there, Hugo Allen, the reigning champion, he's all over the back of Blinko now. What's he got in the bag in the number 1 Mad Butcher car? Can he get it up the inside somewhere?
Blinko's just dropped back a little bit relative to these two, and Josh Bethune's in there as well, chasing Hugo Allen in the 32. You can see him in the background there, closing in as well. So it's Chris White, AJ Giddy, Zach Blinko. They're your top three. Reigning champion Hugo Allen in 4th place, but he is eager to get by Blinko for 3rd.
Chris White's got a bit of a different line down there. He doesn't quite get the apex at 5, but he gets really good drive off the corner, and it's enough that AJ Giddy can't quite get a lunge down the inside, down at the hairpin. Hugo Allen's now all over the back of Blinko, so he's going to start lighting up the fire there, putting on the pressure cooker on the back of Blinko. Josh Bethune's going with him. Simon Hunter's a little bit further back with Lee Zelltwanger, Hugo Allen's teammate, in behind him.
Some of the crew there, I think, from both High Tech and M2 watching on. They'll be busy with CT Front coming up, final one of the weekend. What a lap from Josh Bethune, 107.982, new fastest lap to the driver in 5th.
And he's now running with Allen. He's now in behind Hugo Allen. They're both now working on the back of Zach Blinko's car. But can the right Karts YM2 competition car get by Hugo Allen's IMAC Race Engineering car and the Mackenzie Motorsport car of Zach Blinko? It's so good to see all the different teams up there, all battling it out, all different philosophies on how they set these cars up. Being a spec class, the only thing you can adjust is the driver or the setup.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, shall we? We're not even at the half-race distance. Some may have kind of taken aim, if the conditions remain dry, at having a car that's going to work well at the back end of this race.
Absolutely. We saw there, Josh Bethune had a little bit of a look, which pressured Hugo Allen into having a little bit of a look. He didn't quite, neither of them quite got it done. They weren't quite close enough to the back of Zach Blinko, but we still see the wipers going as well, so maybe it's still trickling a little bit of water out there. And if so, that could really spice up the last 10 laps of the race.
As Blinko just tried to look after things a little, I do wonder if he's starting to struggle here. Here comes Hugo Allen, has another little look. Not quite able to get by there. White and Giddy have a bit of breathing space over this trio. Allen looks again. Now he's going to make a big dive. Big dive. Do they touch the pair of them? I reckon they did. Blinko's gone off. Gets it back on. That makes it nervous, doesn't it, for Josh Bethune?
Josh Bethune had to go off the road to try and avoid Blinko. We'll have to wait and see what happened there. It looked like a pretty good pass. He was pretty far up, but what happened on the exit there, we couldn't quite see from that angle whether he was left enough room. Either way, that's now unleashed Hugo Allen, who's now flown away, and he's now chasing after AJ Giddy and Chris White.
Let's have a closer look. I reckon there's just a small amount of damage to the bodywork on the left front of Hugo Allen's car, and that may be as a result of that little skirmish that Ronan was talking about there. So we head down the main straight again, complete another lap halfway through this one. The feature for Bridgestone GR86. It's Chris White leading the way from Christchurch, from young AJ Giddy, and Hugo Allen rounding out the top 3.
If I'm completely honest, I don't think Hugo was actually planning on passing Blinko there. I think he just wanted to show him a nose. So we see here, he's gone half in, and then he's sort of backed out of it, and then Blinko's sort of then, whether he maybe gave him a nudge, maybe that's where the damage came from. Either way, he then managed to get up beside him. Blinko couldn't hold on to it on the exit there. He's run half off the road, then Josh Bethune's had to run off the road. Oh, yeah, that's going to be hard to spot. We're going to have to maybe see it from another angle, but either way, the racing between these guys, a little bit of rubbing hard, but rubbing's racing, and that was great show from all of those guys just then for that 3rd place.
We had a lot of rain here yesterday. It continued overnight. It's incredibly wet offline. To both Josh and Zach to keep it pointing in the right direction, to stay up. But these young drivers, they're not afraid to do that. But maybe a little bit of luck creeping in to keep it going in the right direction there.
Yeah, and I think Zach Blinko just clearly doesn't have the speed at the moment, because he's dropped pretty far off the back of Hugo Allen now. He's just clearly struggling a bit for car speed, and he's got a lot of pressure on him from Josh Bethune now. As we do see, there is a little bit of damage on the front of that car of Hugo Allen's, the #1 car. So potentially maybe there was some contact that whether it then caused Zach Blinko to go off the road or not, we'll have to wait and see. But they managed to all stay in one piece and keep going. Zach Blinko there, still got Josh Bethune there in the 32. The right kart's supported car, the right kart's YM2 competition run car. they're gnawing on the back of him, trying to get a move done because Blinko's clearly holding him up a little bit at this stage of the race.
We're hearing that Rowan Shepherd, who's a former champion in this class and works in a driving standards capacity for Bridgestone GR86, and we've seen a bit of contact there as Simon Hunter and Lee Zeltwanger come together. They'll run side by side. Cameron Hill in the background, and he may make some ground, Hill, as a result of that. The other two may have slowed each other up just slightly. Just to complete that point, Shepherd and the Motorsport New Zealand team are looking into that incident that you talked about there before from Zach Blinko and Hugo Allen.
Unfortunately there, Simon Hunter just got out-dragged. He had a 3-car freight train on the other side. Arthur Braun chose to go with Cam Hill and Lee Zeltwanger rather than give Hunter a nudge, so he's lost out a couple of positions there. He's probably not going to be too stoked about that move, but Zeltwanger got it down the inside, got it turned. There was a bit of contact there at the apex, and then they came off the corner there, got the power down, and Zeltwanger had the assistance from Hill to be able to get himself past and clear of Simon Hunter.
You see the movement from Arthur Braun's car in the background, the 222, moving around on the change of direction a lot more than the 4 in front, or 3 cars in front. He just needs to, if he can, finish this final race of the weekend and put the dramas that he's been through so far behind him. It's been a toughie for Arthur Braun, hasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly has, and he's such a fast young dude. He's a great kid. And I was talking with his dad actually earlier in the weekend, Matt, and he was saying, you know, they just need a consistent weekend. The kid's got the speed. He just needs to try and put it together. So he, unfortunately, it's been a little bit all over the place for him this weekend, but there's no shortage of talent or speed with Arthur Braun. We've seen him put on some incredible performances in the past. He's got Johnny McIntyre there down in the pits on the cans to him, run by Mackenzie Motorsport. Arthur Braun in the 222, the pack and save car. But he's slowly been making his way back up, and he's got his lap time. He's got one of the fastest laps of the race, so no shortage of speed in the 222 car, just not quite the track position at this stage.
He's a guy that in his karting years spent some time, lived and raced overseas, came back, did some racing in the Mazda series to kind of get acquainted with a car with a roof on it, still only in his teens, and now in Bridgestone GR86. But it's a competitive field this season. We're seeing that. White looking like adding another win in the books now, with Blinko down in 4th place, and how tight the margin was. We talked about the point standings coming into this race. It could well be that Chris White walks away. We're not done yet, obviously. We're only on lap 14 of 20, but he could well walk away with the points lead heading into Highlands.
And on that last lap there, Hugo Allen was the fastest car on the racetrack at a 108.3, so he was 2 tenths quicker than anyone else as he's hunting AJ Giddy for that 2nd place. He's got 6 laps left to try and do it, as we see there. Bethune, he's now trying to go up the inside of Blinko and replicate that move we saw a few laps ago by Hugo Allen on Zach Blinko. Didn't quite get up far enough up the inside there. But this is going to be starting to annoy Josh now. He's going to want to be trying to get this move done. We see there Lee Zeltwanger and Cam Hill. Simon Hunter's now got back past Cam Hill, and Arthur Braun, he's followed him through as well. Free spot going through there, through turn 4. So got back now onto the back straight. Cooper Barnes is now trying to argue it with Cam Hill as well. So it hasn't been a great current lap for Cam Hill. He's lost 2 or 3 spots to those guys. Simon Hunter's now up behind Lee Zeltwanger, with Arthur Braun in behind him. So as they come up the front straight now, put the power down in these little Bridgestone GR86s, the 2.4 litre flat boxer engine. So you see there Cooper Barnes, he's all over the back of Cam Hill now. He's going to want to be trying to get past and do what he just saw Arthur Braun and Simon Hunter do.
To see a bit of progress as well from Justin Allen. He's not quite in the top 10, but I reckon he's not all that far off latching onto the back of that group that you can see there. And Hill, as you say, got shuffled out and shuffled right back, and it was Braun who took advantage of the situation. Back we go to Blinko and Bethune. So this is 4th and 5th, respectively. White leads by 1.7 seconds. So again, he was under siege early when we saw a little bit of that mist that Rihanna described before kind of creeping in. It's settled. He's managed to eke out just gently a little advantage again over AJ Giddy. Hugo Allen, the reigning champion, 3rd.
Yeah, Chris White's been responding. That last lap he did a 108.36. Hugo Allen was the 2nd fastest car on the track at a 108.38. So they're trading fastest laps at the front there. AJ Giddy did a 108.4, so he wasn't much slower than those other two guys. Actually, just on that lap then, Chris White was again the fastest car. AJ Giddy was a 108.5 and Hugo Allen was a 108.7, so both those guys have actually lost time on that lap to Chris White, so clearly Chris is finding a groove with that car and it's now starting to really start to work.
Watching the behaviour of the Napa entry, it looks really solid, doesn't it? So he's nearly just now on the back of Cooper Barnes. They're down the inside, has a little look, and is there a touch again? There is. Blinko's off. Blinko is off. Now, how will they view that in Motorsport New Zealand race control? It looked pretty fair and pretty even on the entry to that corner.
Josh Bethune, he would have been getting frustrated. He was finding it really hard to try and find a way past Blinko, and then he fired it down the inside, very similar to, actually it was very, very close to being the same to Hugo Allen's move on Zach Blinko, and just that time Blinko went a little bit further off the road, but we'll have to wait and see what the call is on that and whether race control take a look at it. But either way, Josh Bethune's now cleared Zach Blinko and he's now moved up into that 4th place.
Just to recap the point standings coming into this one, Blinko was on top by 4 points. His points tally, 474 coming into this race over Chris White on 470. Now White leads the way and Blinko is under siege.
We see there, Blinko darted back across the track. Josh Bethune was already in place to be able to try and go down the inside. He got down the inside there. He was pretty far up on Blinko, so he may feel like he got chopped.
But was it far enough?
He did go in pretty hard there, and he gave Blinko a decent serve. So that might get looked at. We'll have to wait and see. But Josh Bethune, either way, he's now moved up into 4th, and he's got clear track ahead of him.
Appreciate from our team of cameramen and also those in our outside broadcast truck the chance just to look at that from a couple of different angles, because sometimes from the outside you can get a different perspective, can't you? So
yeah, absolutely, and I think there will be a number of different angles that we'll be able to take a look at here, and the officials will be able to have a look and see what they think and what they deem to be the case. But we can worry about that after the race. For now, we've still got a race on our hands. We've got 2 laps to go. Chris White's in the lead by 1.8 seconds to the tune of AJ Giddy there, with Hugo Allen there in 3rd. And Josh Bethune, as we were just talking about, has moved up to 4th. Lee Zelltwanger also capitalised on the fact that Zach Blinko fired off the road, and he's now 5th with Simon Hunter there in 6th.
Can we just actually underscore that? Well done, Lee Zelltwanger, who's had a massive learning curve here, stepping out of the older generation car, which behaves and performs differently to this newer spec, newer generation, Awesome 86. And ditto Simon Hunter, who's a relatively recent return to the class. They're both having an awesome run here, 5th and 6th respectively.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. Lee Zelltwanger, obviously Hugo Allen's teammate, the reigning champ, so he's got a very good base and a very good car and driver to be able to reference himself off. As we see there, Simon Hunter's also doing a great job there. He'd moved across in the off-season, or actually partway through last year, to Right Karts by M2 competition, and clearly thriving and really enjoying the environment there with those guys, and it's provided the results as well.
You saw that at the bottom of your screen. Was that a 10-second penalty to be applied to the race time for Josh Bethune for that incident that we were just covering before with Blinko? So that is, they've moved very quickly to act on that, as it what unfolded only a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, so they've obviously deemed, after reviewing the footage, that 10 seconds is the necessary punishment to fit the crime, and it was hard. It's always hard going in there whether it is what you can determine is fair and what's not fair. And Josh obviously had to have a go at some point. He had a go, got up beside him, just maybe went in a little bit too hot as he ended up sort of muscling Blinko out of the way. So the officials have taken a look and they deemed that 10 seconds is fair.
The star rookie in last year's championship, who went and did some races in Tony Quinn's Super GT4 car in Australia as well. He made an appearance at the Bend in South Australia and at Queensland Raceway. Chris White leads this as we start our final lap, Ronan, and he looks like he is about to take the championship lead from Teretonga Park into Highlands next weekend.
He is more than comfortable at the front there, and we look a bit further back now. Simon Hunter, Zach Blinko and Cam Hill still having a good battle of it. We see Chris White there, our race leader, It's been pretty peachy out the front there for him in the 88 car. Super cruisy. Once the tyres came up and he got going in that car, he's just been absolutely thriving up front there. But in the background, AJ Giddy, he's under fire from Hugo Allen, the reigning champ. So Hugo's been punching out those really fast lap times the last few laps, and on his last lap, it was his fastest lap of the race, a 1:08.2. He was half a second faster than Giddy, so he's got one more opportunity coming down to the last corner here. Chris White's got this in the bag, but what has Hugo Allen got for AJ Giddy?
On the outside, he's going to try the switch back on him. The story up in front is a weekend where he has delivered. The team have given him a great car. He's driven well beyond his years. Chris White takes it out here at Teretonga Park. Brilliant performance in Bridgestone GR86, and in the end they nearly go neck and neck to the line, but AJ Giddy will get there by 0.2 over Hugo Allen in third.
Yeah, we saw there Mark Wood congratulating, clapping for his driver Chris White there coming across the line. He's obviously engineered that car pretty sharply and giving Chris White the tools to go out and win that race by just over 3 seconds. It was a very dominant drive there in the end from Chris White. He did everything he had to do. That last lap, he was 0.6 faster than Gideon Allen. And we see there, Chris White took out the win. The 88 car, AJ Giddy there in second. Hugo Allen, our reigning champion, round out the top three in the podium. Lee Zelltwanger, his teammate, came home in fourth. Arthur Braun did a great job to come through and finish fifth. Simon Hunter in sixth. Zach Blinko in seventh. Cam Hill in eighth. Cooper Barnes in ninth, and Justin Allen rounding out the top 10.
Pleased you mentioned the performance of Mark Wood there too, the ex-McLaren F1 engineer, and the contribution he's making in that team. Well done to Chris White. Takes it out. Highlights for you of the final one of the weekend for Bridgestone GR86. The view on high really told the story from the sixth drone cam, because Chris White got loads of traction, and by the time they got to turn one, had a couple of car lengths over AJ Giddy, who'd been fast all weekend and did the job in qualifying. Zach Blinko slotting into third.
Yeah, he certainly did, and we saw it there as well. Cooper Barnes doing a bit of rallycross there, and then the moment here between, so Simon Hunter and Mac Templeton were both involved in that, so that may get looked at, because we didn't see why Mac ended up off the road there. Unfortunately for the 92 car.
Lucky to keep it off the wall though, wasn't he? Good job. Meantime, White set about trying to build an advantage as they all went sideways and pretty wild in the background. We had some misty rain creep in. The wipers were at work, and that closed things up in front between White and Giddy and Blinko. Then Hugo Allen entered the story. This happened. Bit of contact between the pair of them. Some damage to the left front of the Mad Butcher car, and Blinko, who was our points leader coming into this race, began to slip down the leaderboard.
Yeah, that did not help Zach Blinko's case. We saw there Lee Zelltwanger getting into the 42 car of Simon Hunter. And then this was the one, Josh Bethune up the inside, but he got into the side of the number 90 car, gave him a big old whack, and unfortunately that ended up with Zach Blinko going off the road, and Josh received a 10-second penalty. But Chris White coming across the line to win the race in dominant fashion, just over 3 seconds for the young man from Christchurch. For Neil Motorsport in conjunction with Wood Motorsport, as we see there, we'll go down to Rihanna down in Victory Lane.
And we welcome him back here to the Allied Petroleum Victory Lane, taking out the final race for the Toyota GR86s here at Teretonga Park. Chris White, congratulations. A very measured drive, very smart drive, and he got the job done.
Sweet, yeah, thank you. It was pretty tricky in those first few laps. I had AJ right up my tailgate there. He was pushing me real hard. Wasn't sure how hard it would be for him to pass, because he was a bit of a wet line on the inside there still, so I didn't try to defend in case it was a bit wet, but we knuckled down, just hitting our marks every lap, being consistent, and then throughout the race we managed to get a gap, which recently we've been getting the gap at the start of the race and losing it at the end, so it was quite good to be able to have that consistent pace.
Congratulations, not just taking out the final win, but taking out the overall round podium. And in second place for the final race for the Toyota 86s here. He's been very busy all weekend long. Congratulations, AJ Giddy. You nearly held him off at the start, but he just got away from you right at the end there. How was it out there?
Yeah, I got an average start. Tried to get on and put some pressure on him, but he drove really nice and drove away. So at the end there, I had to start getting defensive because Hugo was coming up, but it was a good race, and I tried my hardest.
Congratulations. Enjoy the celebrations on the podium, and rounding out our third place on the podium for the final race, Hugo Allen, what a battle you had out there with AJ Giddy. Just congratulations to get yourself on the podium for the final race here.
Yeah, it's a nice way to finish off what's been a pretty tough weekend, and to be honest, the whole first half of the season hasn't been ideal for us. We know what we're capable of. It's just sometimes you lose your feet a little bit, probably more in myself, but feeling more myself and just want to keep it trucking on, and looking forward to Highlands next weekend.
We look forward to seeing you there. Well done to all of our place getters for the Bridgestone Toyota GR86 Cup.
Time to celebrate the podium for race 3 in round 3 of the Bridgestone GR86 Championship. Presenting the trophies, Gareth Michelle, the Bridgestone Regional Manager. In third place, please congratulate from IMAC Engineering, Hugo Allen. In second place from Mackenzie Motorsport, it's AJ Giddy. And in first place for Neil Motorsport, what a weekend for Chris White. Congratulations to our drivers in round 3 of the Bridgestone GR86 Championship. Time for the celebrations. So some unbelievable racing from Bridgestone GR86 this weekend. Hugely competitive stuff, and cannot wait to see them at Highlands in just a few days' time for the Napa 70th New Zealand Grand Prix event, which is going to be a massive festival of motorsport, really something for everyone there, as is the case here at the Ascot Park Hotel, Teretonga International, because we move from the one-make Toyotas to the broad array of vehicles in the Somerset GT New Zealand Championship. This is race 3 for their weekend, the final race. It's a 50-minute timed enduro, and there's a bit to unpick from this one after a very competitive couple of races so far. Joined in commentary by Andrew Waite, who's made his way back upstairs after enjoying the Toyota action. And this will be an interesting race. There's some pit stop penalty time